Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with the Trumpet for My People. Today is July 17th, 2024, and we are watching July 20th, July 21st, July 22nd, coming up here on the full buck moon. And I have information today that connects us with Hurricane Beryl to July 21st. And we have information about the possibility of Shavuot, the true date being July 21st. So I want to share these two pieces of information with you, and I will leave all the links for you of my previous information that has been pointing to July 19th, 20th, 21st, or 22nd. Somewhere in here, we are arriving at what could be the true date of Shavuot. Okay, so if we are looking at July 21st as the possible true day of Shavuot, well, I want to share with you about Hurricane Beryl and how this connects us with July 21st. Okay, the first thing we need to understand is that Hurricane Beryl became a rare early season major hurricane on June 30th. Okay, on June 30th, it hit Category 3 status and became a major hurricane on June 30th. Okay, it was formed as a tropical storm a few days prior to this, but June 30th is the day of Hurricane Beryl becoming a major hurricane. Okay, now Beryl is used 8 times in the Bible. One of those times is used in the book of Daniel. And in Daniel 10, verse 6, it says, "His body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude." Daniel 10:6, the vision of Daniel, his body was like the beryl. It goes on in Daniel chapter 10, talking about the war in heaven between Michael and the prince of Persia. This was a 21-day battle. It also shows us that everything that was given to Daniel was for us to understand for the end days. Daniel 10:13 and 14, "But the prince of the kingdom of Persia withstood me 21 days. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, for I remained there with the kings of Persia. Now I have come to make you understand what is to befall your people in the latter days, for the vision is for many days yet to come." Daniel 10:13 and 14, Daniel 10:6 showing us the color of beryl, and we have the Hurricane Beryl June 30th plus a 21-day interval. Now, in the book of Daniel, if we look at Daniel, the number of Daniel in the Strong's Concordance, it's 1840. Appointed time in the Strong's Concordance is 2165. Pentecost in the Strong's Concordance is 4005. And if you add Daniel and appointed time, adding 1840 plus 2165, you get 4005. In other words, Daniel's appointed time is Pentecost. So Hurricane Beryl, we have this information about June 30th, and we have the connection biblically to the color of beryl and a 21-day difference. So let us consider this as we look at July 21st as the possible fulfillment of true Pentecost. Now I want to share with you this video done by Brother Dana explaining how some people understand that true Shavuot in 2024 is Sunday, July 21st.
Hey guys, so I've been reading this comment by a sister in Christ who goes by the handle Dearly Beloved 2024, and she's been describing to me a calendar system which I found to be really elegant and natural and intuitive. And as far as I know, I haven't really heard any other watchmen talking about this specific calendar system. I think there have been some that are similar, but not exactly like this. And I know that the Lord is using the Enochian priestly solar calendar for some things, but what if he's using different calendar types for different things? And maybe for, to fulfill these Hebraic feast days, he's using this calendar that she's describing here. So let me show you really fast how this calendar works. All right, let's take a look at Stellarium. So this red line right here is the ecliptic, along which the moon and sun travel from right to left. And then the Hebrew Mazzaroth has 12 constellations which fall along the ecliptic. And those correspond to the 12 months of the year, of course. And then we know from Exodus chapter 12 that the Lamb constellation, or Aries, is the constellation associated with the first month. And you can also call these houses, and you can, like, instead of constellations, like the house of Pisces or the house of Aries or the house of Taurus, and so on. So the way the calendar works that the sister was describing to me is that you determine the month of the year by which of these Mazzaroth constellations that the sun is in. Okay, so for instance, if the sun is in the constellation of Aries, or the house of Aries, then you know that you're in the first month. Okay, but there's a problem with that still, because the sun enters Aries on a certain date, and it's going to be in Aries for the next few weeks. So which actual date corresponds to the first, day of the month? Well, that's where the moon comes into play. Okay, so the moon is the faithful witness. And what it's doing is it bears witness each month to which constellation the sun is in. Okay, so right now what we have here is the sun. This is set to April 19th of this year. The sun had just entered into the house of Aries. Now you have to go forward a few days, day by day, and you see the sun still there, the moon still off somewhere on the other part of the ecliptic. And we're into May now, and here comes the moon. I'm going to mark it with this red reticule, and you see the moon comes in, and it's May 7th, May 8th. Okay, so at this point, the moon is now in conjunction with the sun, and it's a new moon. And of course, that's no surprise, because when the moon is in conjunction with the sun like this, it's always a new moon, right? That's just how it works. So what we have here is the moon has joined up with the sun to bear witness as the faithful witness to the sun's position in this house of Aries, of the Aries constellation. So this conjunction here is marking the first day of the first month, because this is the constellation associated with the first month, right? So that happens here on May 8th, okay? And in this system, the new moon is always the first day of the month, and the full moon is always the 15th day of the month, okay? So now you might be thinking, well, isn't this how Hebrew calendars, like the Torah calendar, already work? Well, no, because the way that those systems work is they look to see which constellation the new moon sliver is sighted in to determine the first day of the month. So if the new moon sliver is sighted in Aries, then that's the first day of the first month. But, and they don't bring the sun into the equation at all. So in those systems, instead of the moon being a faithful witness to what the sun is doing or where the sun is, it's actually taking the role of the sun, right? So it's like usurping the sun's role. So this is a different system, and with those systems, you're going to get obviously a different result. So I think the new moon sliver this year was sighted in this constellation at the beginning of April, or April 8th or 9th or something like that. And so, with that system, that would be the first day of the first month. But obviously, this calendar is giving you a completely different result, because you can see that the first day of the first month is about a month after that, on May 8th. This system here is going to work the same for each month and each constellation. So if I just go forward now from May 8th, and the moon is now off screen again, the sun has moved into Taurus, and here's the moon again. Okay, so now it's June 6th. Let me recenter this, and we move forward by hour now. Okay, there it is, the faithful witness. bearing witness to the sun being in the house of Taurus. So that is the first day of the second month here on June 6th. And let's keep going. Move forward by day here. The sun has now entered Gemini. And there's the moon. The faithful witness, bearing witness to the first day, the first day of the third month now. So this is July 6th, okay? So it's bearing witness to the sun's position in the house of Gemini. And so this is the first day of the third month. Now let's take a look at the moon, because like I said, when the moon becomes a full moon, that means you're on the 15th of the month. Okay, so there's the ecliptic kind of top-down view. We'll go forward day by day here. Going around the ecliptic, July, and so the moon here is 96%, 99%, 99.7%. Yeah, that's pretty much full. So when is this? This is July 21st, the date of the full moon. And according to this calendar system, that is the 15th day of the third month, which is Shavuot, according to the Book of Jubilees. So have we finally found Shavuot? Has it been ahead of us this whole time, even when we thought it was in the rearview mirror? So it's kind of amazing to me that it happens to fall on that exact date that we're looking at for a variety of other reasons. This full buck moon is the full buck moon, the date of Shavuot, the correct date of Shavuot, the Feast of Weeks, the harvest festival, harvest of the wheat. And this is pretty compelling to me because, I just knew Shavuot had to play a role somehow in the rapture because, it's the wheat harvest festival, or you could say the end of the barley harvest, depending on how you look at it. And, it's this, you've got these three feast days in the spring, and then the three fall feasts, and then you've got this mysterious one like right in the middle, which if you line up on a menorah corresponds to like the middle candle, which is, the fourth candle, which is the door, like the door to heaven, and other things too. Like if you look up Shavuot in Hebrew, right, and then you punch that into a Hebrew gematria calculator, it's 784, right? And the current rabbinical year is 5784, and I don't believe in coincidences like that. I mean, why would God encode the number 784 into the word for Shavuot, if the rapture happened in 5784 and it had nothing to do with Shavuot? It seems unlikely to me. So yeah, is this the calendar that the Lord is going to use to fulfill Shavuot, Feast of Weeks, Harvest Festival? I think it very well may be. I mean, the system itself, it's very intuitive, very elegant, and also very natural in the way it follows the logic of the inherent design of creation, of the sun and the moon, and with the moon as the witness to what the sun is doing, to where the sun is. And especially in light of the fact that, we were already looking at the date of the full buck moon of this month for so many other reasons. If you haven't caught my last video here, Acts ship voyage solved finally, where I show how the astro symbolism of Paul's ship voyage is pointing also at that full buck moon of this month. If you haven't seen that, definitely check that out. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to have Shavuot also line up with that. This one here is pretty good as well. It's from Amos 8, which talks about the basket of summer fruit and everything, and then Amos 8:5 it says, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat? So in other words, when can we do the harvest, right? So if you look at those clues, when will the new moon be gone? That equates to the full moon, right? Because when the new moon is gone, it's the full moon, right? When the full moon is gone, it's the new moon. And then it says and the Sabbath, right? And what they mean by that is when will the Sabbath be over, right? Because they can't harvest on the Sabbath. So when the Sabbath is over, it's Sunday, right? When Saturday is over, it's Sunday. So what we have there are clues for the full moon and Sunday. And what is July 21st? It's a full moon on a Sunday. So I think Amos chapter 8 is also a clue there that the harvest will take place on that full moon.